Welcome to Talk to Al Jazeera. I'm Jane Dutton. 20 years after liberation from Ethiopia, Eritrea is Africa's youngest nation and one of the poorest. Strategically vital to the stability of the region and the wider global agenda, Eritrea is struggling to balance the needs of its people with the perceived threats to the nation. We have a rare interview with the president, the man responsible for steering the country towards success or disaster. Mr. President, thank you very much for joining us on Talk to Al Jazeera. Mr. President, in December, the United Nations imposed sanctions on Eritrea for what they say was supporting armed groups like Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Do you feel as though you've been unfairly victimized?
No, it's a mockery of justice and history. In our political culture, we've never believed, and we don't believe, religion is an alternative or substitute for political, social, economic problems in any one country or any society. We've never entertained the idea of Sharia being a solution or Islam being a solution, as many may like to appreciate. How possibly can one blame Eritrea for sympathizing or supporting one group against the other in Somalia? We've never done that.
Al-Shabaab themselves claim that your defense ministry visited them. The African Union has complained about your activities in Somalia, as has the United Nations. Are you saying that they are all lying?
Where are these evidences in the first place? We never went. We didn't went. The French have two kidnapped hostages there. They asked our good officers to see if we can do anything. We never promised, we never wanted to get involved in this, but because there was that initiative, we wanted to contact with everybody in Somalia.
So are you therefore saying that those Al-Shabaab members, the African Union and the United Nations are therefore all lying?
We believe Al-Shabaab are Somalis in the first place, whether they are radicals, moderates, whether they're part of the Islamic course or not. We believe every Somali should be involved in an inclusive political process.
But why would the United Nations and the African Union say that this is what you are doing, that
Where
you're supporting?
Are these evidences in the first place? What are they saying? That's where I come to say this is a mockery of justice.
You talk about religion. A lot of people raise your support with Al-Shabaab, you being a Christian leader, that being a Muslim organization.
It's nonsensical.
And it's not to fight the proxy war against...
This is a joke.
Ethiopia?
This is a joke. I don't want to blame anyone for what has been said here or there. What are the evidences? How can you explain the fact that Eritrea supports this or that radical Islam?
Are you using Somalia as a battleground to fight Ethiopia?
It's not a battleground with Ethiopia. This border issue was a senseless conflict instigated by the United States in the first place, for the record. And we went to arbitration, and arbitration was done almost 8 years now, 2002, and the decision was taken. And that decision is blocked by the United States. It's not blocked by Ethiopia. Ethiopia does not have the resource and the means to block any decision of arbitration and implementation. So it's a cover-up for the failure of the misguided policies of the United States in the Horn of Africa for the last 20 years.
So would you, if Ethiopia were to withdraw from Badme, that's the border town that you are referring to, if they had to withdraw from that, would you then take this country off the war footing?
It's not a problem with Ethiopia. We've never had any problems with Ethiopia. We worked with these people for almost 2 decades to remove a government in Ethiopia. And we wanted to see a relationship between Eritrea and Ethiopia based on mutual respect and commonality of interest. And we worked for decades for that. And now we're talking about a misguided policy of the United States that wants to create crisis here, political problems here and there, and micromanage those problems.
Okay, you say that that's your relationship with Ethiopia. Please explain to me what your relationship is with Sudan. You have alleged links to GEM as well as the SLA.
That is again a distortion of history. It's a deliberate distortion of facts.
The Sudanese government says that it stopped GEM fighters from coming into your country, that you've got camps
No
within.
Sudanese government or official has said that, because they can't prove that. And it's said in the name of Sudanese officials and to the Sudanese government. This is a deliberate distortion of facts.
Who then was responsible for pulling GEM out of the peace talks with the government?
Not at all. No, never. That never happened. In Abuja, when negotiations were underway, we said this is not a solution. There has to be an inclusive and comprehensive political process in the Sudan to address the issues of Southern Sudan, Eastern Sudan, Central Sudan, Northern Sudan, and Darfur. We've never entertained an idea of intervening this way or that way to support one group against the other, not at all.
All those allegations leveled against Eritrea about being one of the main backers behind destabilizing this region, destabilizing the Horn of Africa. Is that not true?
Who is destabilizing the Horn of Africa? Who has been supporting warlords in Somalia for the last 20 years? Who has intervened in Somalia, invaded Somalia? Who has wanted to put governments from outside? We have 3 strategic interventions the last 8 or 10 years where people have tried to impose governments from outside. None of these governments have worked. This is destabilizing Somalia, and by destabilizing Somalia, you destabilize the region.
You are friends with both Iran and Israel. How do you balance the two?
And that is another joke, because why would the United States impose arms embargo on Eritrea, a small country with very limited resources, and not impose sanctions on the alleged role of Iran in the region? How can you possibly appreciate the logic behind this position of the United States?
Okay, maybe you can clear up for us Iran's role in this region.
There is no role for Iran in this region. Eritrea is not for sale. Eritrea is not for sale. Not for Iran, not for Israel, not for the United States, for nobody.
If Eritrea is not for sale, then how do you justify providing arms for Hamas? And how do you justify providing arms
we don't even have any diplomatic relations with any Palestinian organization.
No, but you're allowing Iran to supply arms through Hamas, through you. You also...
Where are the evidences? Do we need weapons from Iran? If we want to give it to anyone, we don't need weapons from Iran. We have enough, we have more than we need. We can arm 3-4 governments. We don't need weapons from Iran. We do not have the political will to work on behalf of anyone in this region, never.
And if it's not political will, then what is it? Because they are going through you, through Sudan.
There is no Iranian presence in this region.
But there is Iranian presence. They're helping you off a sub, and they've got a military base there. They're helping you with your oil refinery.
I would invite you to go to Assab and see. There is no refinery there. This is a joke. There is no refinery there.
Okay, then the evidence, as well as the Israeli planes that stopped arms shipment to Sudan, where they got Iranian Revolutionary Guards.
Where are the evidences? Where are the evidences? Can you prove to anyone that you have evidences to tell a story about Eritrea shipping arms to anywhere in the region?
You have a relationship with both Iran, though you say there's no Iranian presence, as well as Israel. How do you balance?
How can you
so you say you have no relationship with Iran?
Not at all.